Good morning and welcome back to Withrow Urban Homestead. Today's March 20th and it's the last day of winter. Did you see the fish crow up on that pole? They're not often in the garden, but they do live nearby. The birds are not happy that I'm out here. Today, my goals are to make a video on how I compost, an introduction to our different berries so we can compare their growth over the season, and to sow the last 3 spring vegetables and flowers, and to make some how-to videos. Right now it's 47, but by noon it's going to feel like 60. So first, let's take care of this compost. We're going to move a few of the top items into the compost behind the garage. I started this one last spring and it's broken down. I want to use it now as a layer of mulch in this area of the garden. The birds aren't really scared of me. If they felt I was a threat, they would freeze in place. I hear the red-bellied woodpecker again. Maybe today we'll actually see it. I need this, so let's move these things over to the shelf. My neighbor's roses are leafing out. This is a beautiful long-stemmed red rose. Did you notice the burned grass next door? 2 days ago, I was scared to death. I looked out the window cooking dinner and I saw the grass was on fire. I had smelled smoke. And my poor neighbor was just wandering around trying to put it out with a watering can. So I went and called 911. This is just too close to my house. Be careful with fire and the high wind. Let's take a break and enjoy the beautiful daffodils. And more coming. It's not even in full bloom yet. It's finally not too windy, so let's go put out the March flag. Till hurriedly connected this hose for the fire. So I hadn't yet hooked it up because it was still freezing overnight. Whew. This house is way too old to be close to fire. Here's another way I compost. I just chop and drop old plants and spread them around. Now let's chop and drop some of these old carrot tops. This is several of our fall carrots that I left to send up a flower head and save for seed. I love saving heirloom seeds. If you enjoy birds, use the app Merlin. It'll listen and ID the various bird sounds. You want to see what's here in north central Maryland in the heart of the city? There are so many birds out this morning. I need to take a break and sit up on the balcony and get the binocular, see what I can find. It's springtime, so a lot of these birds are migrating back. Let's go up to the front and get a big piece of cardboard. I suspect they might have some babies up in there. Those are some house sparrows. Sometimes the finches will nest there. It varies, but it's always small birds. That nesting box has been there since we moved here 18 years ago. On my recent tour video, I said that cardinals not like to nest along in this vine after it leaves out and it's nice and thick. Not their first set of eggs, but later in the summer. Hopefully this year. And I recently added a window feeder right here. The birds haven't found it yet. I want the birds here because when my husband Dale is recovering from his liver transplant surgery, this is going to become his bedroom. I think somebody dropped that on me. It would be nice when he was recovering if he could watch the birds come here. This is the living room. I moved the Christmas tree. I was afraid it was going to blow out into the alleyway. I noticed I need to fill up that bird feeder. And I also saw our mini rose is coming back to life. let's put a pause on filming intro videos to the berries because I really want to get the rest of our seeds sown. So let's give the birds their space to eat and go work at the table. Formed up enough. I'm able to take off my long sleeve. We'll see. We'll see how I feel here in the cool of the shade. And I needed to replace that hot wool hat. And the lens of my sunglasses fell out, so I had to put a different pair on. Now let's sow some stalk. It's a cool weather flower. And I'm growing it again because I totally failed at it last year. The noise is Dale. He's moving the recycling bin out to the curb. Let's take a break for lunch. Up here on the balcony, it's cold again. The sun's behind the clouds, so put my coat back on and my warm hat. Let's enjoy the garden. Wow. During lunch, Dell got a text, and the liver transplant has been scheduled for 2 months from now, in May. Wow. They found a living liver donor. They'll take part of the donor's liver and give it to Dale. Wow, feels overwhelming. So that means we have 2 months together in the garden. After that, I don't know what's going to happen. Okay, wow. Now, back to sowing 2 more seeds. We're going to start with chard. Here in north central Maryland, our last frost tends to be around April 30th. So now's a perfect time, 6 weeks before our last freeze, to sow chard. And remember to check your winter sown jugs, and if any of them feel light, it probably means they have dried out and need some water. So let's see. Well, they all feel good. We just had, I think 2 days ago, yesterday or 2 days ago, a really bad rainstorm. So they have plenty of water. So the chard's done, and if you noticed, I noticed the raspberries have even more leaves, and the recently moved blueberry looks good too. I need to feed these blueberries before those leaves bud out, but not today. A drink spilled. It's gotten warm out here, so let's go get a new drink. Then we're gonna sow parsley. It is a beautiful sunny afternoon. It's in the 60s and it feels great. And like I said, Tomorrow's the first day of spring. Sowing parsley, which is great for the kitchen, but mainly to draw in the swallowtail caterpillars because they'll pick it as a host plant for their eggs. Here, I tend to grow fennel and parsley for the swallowtails. Give them some options. We didn't have any caterpillars the last 2 years. Unfortunately, our butterfly populations are diminishing. Now remember, I decided to do winter sowing because of my husband Dale's liver transplant. We didn't know when it would be scheduled. Normally I start seeds in the basement, but that is under the living room where he will be recovering, and I don't want it smelling like soil. I did winter sowing about 10 years ago very successfully. I knew it would be a good option this year. Now, I love starting seeds inside. I love taking care of them. But this is a better option this year. Now we do have a surgery date. Of course, that could change. Before, we didn't know if we could find a living donor. Though that surgery can be scheduled. Volunteer, though, had to go through all type of testing to make sure they were healthy and a good match. And if that didn't happen, we would have to depend on a deceased donor, and those surgeries are always last minute. But now that we have a date, all these spring veggies and flowers we've winter sown, I have time to plant those out, and our summer veggies and flowers should be able to go out in the middle of May before surgery. So the timing is perfect. I am using a water jug from Walmart, and it's going to be a small greenhouse. We don't drink milk. We don't drink soda in bottles. So I purposely ordered over several months online water to be delivered. And in the beginning, they came in those traditional white milk jug looking containers. So I have a lot of those. Then Walmart switched to these harder plastic jug containers. These are harder, and I actually like these better. Tape sticks easier. They're see-through, they seem to be warmer and have light and germinate faster. But either one of these jugs will work. Here they are. See how this is thinner? This is stronger. But these are the exact same Walmart product. Now the last 3 March winter sown seeds are done. And we're not going to sow anymore till April. And we will keep following the ones we've already sown. Now I want to make a video to check on what the strawberries look like at the beginning of spring and compare the different locations they're growing in the garden. Let's hurry up and do that before it rains. Should get here about 2. But first we need to clean up this area. I don't want to be stuck trying to get this all in the garage during a rainstorm. Protect these seeds from any critters chewing through that paper. Metal's good for that. All of this needs to go back in the house. Now, if the radar's right, we actually have a few more hours before the rain arrives. I decided to wait. I'll put off the berry videos to another day. My brain's pretty fried. I want to make sure I share accurate information. So let's go up in the balcony, drink our soda, and enjoy the birds. Let them eat before the rainstorm arrives. Thank you for visiting Withrow Urban Homestead. See you later. Bye-bye.